everybody, thanks for coming back for another video. Today I'm going to be talking about SkullTec Gel Pads, my favorite knuckle protection to use, and I'll go into why in this video for you. Before I go on, make sure to comment below, let me know what you think about the video, subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of all my upcoming uploads, and let's get into it. Alright, so a lot of people probably at some point consider getting knuckle protection for their hands. I know when I started boxing, it didn't take long for, I feel like, all my knuckles, not just here on the ends that are getting, making contact with the bag or whatever it was, the metacarpal or, these bones in my hand. I just felt like all of them just ached so much. So I tried fast wraps. There's different versions of them. Some look like, gloves you put on, you just Velcro around the wrist. I had heard talks about winning and how protective and pillowy they are, and they make these gel pads. I tried these for a little while, and eventually I landed on these SkullTec Gel Pads, which come in two different sizes. They come in a 1/4 inch, which are these. I'll open them up. It's kind of they say it's orange. It's kind of an orangish pink color to it. And then it also comes in a 1/2 inch version, which is green. So why are these my favorite? A couple things. So one, with the fast wraps and the gloves, I find all of those, the ones that I've tried, just to be so uncomfortable. They're like gloves. They have seams everywhere, down in between your fingers. Unlike actual hand wraps that you wrap your hand up with and fit your hand perfectly, they might be too tight, they might be too big, they move around some. And it just didn't, it felt like wearing a glove in a glove, which I just found to be very uncomfortable and bothersome. Then I tried these, the Winning N2G, I believe, knuckle pads. And a couple issues with these, and there are other versions, there are other brands that basically make this same thing. This about a 1/2 inch of gel here in a soft cotton encasing about this wide. Some of them are even bigger. I've seen some as this wide. Couple problems with these. As you wrap them, and most people will tell you and show you as you're wrapping up your hand, you place them lower down here so that as you're going through your fingers and as you're making a fist, and when you're done, that they'll be about up here. And then you put the hand into the glove, which is going to scoot it up a little more, sometimes right up on the knuckles, until you get good at wrapping your hands with these, sometimes like all the way up, and then it's just useless. So two things that just these did not work for me. Eventually I kind of figured out like the sweet spot, where to put these on my hand when I'm wrapping them, how tight to wrap it, but they would still move around a little bit. But actually these I like a compact hand compartment, and these were too thick, because they created too thick or tight of a hand compartment, and I like them snug. And also, because they're thicker and your hands are quite more bulky with them on, it eventually kind of really stretches out the inside of your glove permanently, so that if you ever, for whatever reason, wanted to wear your gloves without these knuckle pads on, your hand now feels like it's kind of rattling inside the glove. So unless you're committed to always wearing these 100% of the time, it's going to do that to your gloves. And two, because they do take up so much room, there's all sorts of trick that people do to try and stretch out the inside of the glove. Stuff a towel down there, a shirt down there, or other things to really bulk up and kind of create a larger, more roomy hand compartment to accommodate the size of these. So it was for those reasons, these, I wanted to look for something else. There had to be a better option. So then I learned from another person at my gym about these SkullTec Gel Pads. And if you look at them, of all the ones I tried, these are the least flashy. They are not precisely the same size. Like, I'm standing up on an end. There, I can see like the little pen mark for whoever did make this cut. They're a little off, but none of that matters in the function of them. So it was kind of ironic, you have these other ones that have all this like, brand labeling all over it, and all this supposed to be so scientifically advanced or whatever, and these simple, not flashy at all, just pieces of shock absorbing gel have been the best things I've ever found. So for two reasons. One, how thin they are. These are 1/4 inch thick. There's two different ways to do this. Some people will double these up, and that is what I do, and I'll say why in a minute. But even doubled up, this is 1/2 inch compared to, that's much thinner than these winning ones. Or some people just, take a razor blade, cut them in half, and they use one for each hand, and then they have these for later on whenever these wear out. So the thinness is great. Wrapped up with these on, my hands are barely, if any, noticeable degree thicker than they are when I don't use these, especially since I use thinner Mexican style hand wraps. If I wrap my hands like normal, like I used to with cotton wraps, with no gel pads, the thickness of those wraps without gel pads compared to when I use the Mexican style with these are very similar. These would be negligibly a little bit thicker, my hands would be. So the thinness is one thing. The other is because of how much larger these are, and I think partly because of the way I wrap them on my hands, they don't move. So I get these, they end up being about like this on my hands inside the wraps, and they don't move. I think that's partly because of the way that I wrap them doubled up. It really holds them in place even after I put my hand in the glove. And I'll show you how I do that just quickly at the end. I can say I wear these 99% of the time. It is extremely rare for me not to wear these gel pads. And since I've started wearing these, I have 0 bruised knuckles. They work. Even though they are so much thinner than the winning knuckle pads or really any other that I found, and they don't look flashy. They come in this kind of like Ziploc bag, and they're not, cut perfectly like identical. But again, these things work extremely well. For me, they are the best knuckle pads you can have due to their thinness, and because I'm able to double them up the way I wrap them, they stay in place. So they don't move around in my glove. They don't permanently kind of disfigure and change the molding and shape of the interior of my gloves. Sometimes I recycle through and I sell my gloves or trade them and things like that. It just doesn't change the integrity of the glove or the padding. So I'll show you real quick kind of how I wrap with these. There's a ton of different ways to wrap your hands in general. If you want to see in detail how I wrap my hands, let me know down in the comments. I'd be happy to do a separate short video about that. But I specifically want to show you what I do up on the knuckles that kind of keep these in place. All right, so I've done my wrist and my thumb. I come up here, I go once over my knuckles, and honestly I do that so that as a comfort thing. And I'm actually going to grab a pair, an older pair that I've had. I've used these for over a year. So they're more broken in. It's just going to be easier to wrap them real quick for you. So I do that just so that it's not this rubber against my skin. And also it's going to sandwich this together, which I think helps prevent this from sliding around inside your glove. So I put the end almost all the way up to the end right there on my knuckles, wrap it over to hold it in place, double it up, and I do that again. Okay, now it's held in place, and I believe it's because of that like sandwiching method that I do there, wrapping around this, that this isn't really going to move. So I come back and I go through the fingers, and as I do that I kind of form a fist to keep it there. Test it in place. Okay, stay in there. Brings it back just slightly, and that's it over the knuckles. So I'll finish up just so you can see what the finished product is like. So as you can see, I don't think it really makes them very bulky. Much more different than when I used to wrap my hands with just cotton wraps and just go around my knuckle a bunch of times, or do that trick where you wrap it around your knuckles and then pull it off and kind of stack it up on top of your knuckles. But yeah, this pad, it comes all the way down almost to my knuckles here. up over my knuckles and back here. And because of the way I kind of sandwiched it in there and then locked it in when going through my fingers, when I put these on in a glove, it doesn't move. So it keeps it secure, protects my knuckles without creating a lot of space, doesn't kind of disfigure or change the shape of the interior piece of my gloves. And again, since I've been using these, I've never had any knuckle problems, no bruises, no breaks, nothing. That's why for me, I think these are the best gel pads out there. So I hope you liked the video. Let me know down below if you've tried these or if there's other brands you've tried that you like. Let me know if you have any questions about this product that I can answer for you. And don't forget to subscribe to the channel, hit the notification bell so you'll be notified of my upcoming videos. And if you're curious about these wraps, I do have another video that I've done on that. Check that out as well. But yeah, I'll see you guys next time. Thanks for tuning in.